Pranam Swamiji. This is regarding the government not being in business. Well, don't we depreciate the difficulty of the government? Because as this government, selling Air India itself was a fantastic decision, at the same time a very difficult decision. The second thing is about tourism. We have so much to see, but Bodh Gaya, where I was recently a few months back, it's so dirty. And who is responsible? It's no government that is responsible. It is our own people. As I was discussing with a doctor friend of mine here, we have so much to see, but every place is so much of litter. And what do you see? And lastly, do you see the agriculture laws being taken up again in the recent future? Thank you.
So 3 questions there, sir. Just checking. No, but all wonderful questions. The first one was about Air India and the reforms. You're absolutely right, sir. It has taken, I think, 14 years across governments to finally get one, Air India being sold off. It was under the debt of 70,000 crores. It should never have been run by the government. It was illegally taken over by Nehruji from J.R.D. Tata because if you were to read the history, Nehru wanted J.R.D. to take over mines and some other thing, and he said, I don't have the time. And the next morning, Air India was nationalized. Such was our beacon of hope and liberty and free speech, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. But the fact remains that it has been the only privatization in the last 10 years. There has been money that has been taken from public sector units, or there is a word for it. I suddenly forget that word. Disinvestment. But one public sector unit is disinvested in, and the other public sector units buys those shares. So poor LIC will be buying Coal India, and so it just goes back and forth. The junk family jewelry just shifts from the left pocket to the right pocket and vice versa. And I'll give you an analogy. For a lot of people, many of them are my friends who are votaries for governments being in business. I want to ask you, away from the philosophical question that it is antithetical to Darwinian evolution. Socialism cannot sustain growth and prosperity. It has been proven. But I ask you, would you allow, or is anyone pleased when scientists repeat failed experiments? The answer is no. No scientist, logical, commonsensical, rational scientist would ever repeat a failed experiment. Even the people, for example, if this Chandrayaan-3 had failed, would you have posted about it that, oh, it is as good as Chandrayaan-2 that it has failed, or be happy about it? No. Then why do we, away from science, repeat failed experiments like socialism and government state control? Why? What is this new output that we expect? Every result will exactly be the same as it was under Soviet Union or Venezuela or North Korea. So when in science we don't expect any sensible guy to repeat a failed experiment, why do in societies and in governments we keep on repeating those failed experiments? And as for those who say, well, there are profitable PSUs, but the fact remains that out of 1,840, 400 of them are non-functional, 10 may be profitable. But who is to know? If those profitable PSUs were in private hands, they would be garnering 100 times more profit than what they are. We know governments cannot run organizations. So let's keep it at that. Sir, your second question was tourism. Yes, what you say is true. How do you? This is a problem that is a multidimensional problem. But at the same time, if the government can put in a particular sector tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of crores, if a government 21% of 40 lakhs, 1/5 of it, is being given to PSUs for propping up 6 PSUs, Imagine if a tenth of that was to be used for sprucing up Bodh Gaya, to identify Bodh Gaya, to make world-class airport there and connectivity there and hotels there and attract, or I proposed something many years ago that many people thought, oh, look at this guy, he's proposing to split up India. But you know where Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans, that famously has these quarters. Even Pondicherry has those quarters, but that has a colonial lineage. But something like Bodh Gaya, I mean, Japanese and the South Koreans would be more than happy to invest. They would be more than happy to take away vast swathes of Bodh Gaya to develop them, and then have hotels that would cater to their tourists and so on and so forth, open to everyone. So there are views to do that. You cannot have very limited trickle down government intervention of, let's say, 100 crores and boasting to make a smart city, when Nitin Gadkari is spending 10 times that amount in making a flyover. So yes, the problem lies both ways. You're absolutely right. We ourselves are to blame, but the government has to put in that thrust. And sir, your final question? Yes, sir. They should have been implemented 30 years ago. Many people said when the laws were repealed, especially from the BJP, that the BJP will try and get the states to implement those laws. That hasn't happened. It's almost been 2 years since the laws were abrogated. It's a compounded tragedy. I don't know the solution to that. And I mean, if in one sentence I have to portend the future of India, as it is absolutely bleak. Because you cannot have 300 million people at the mercy of so many things that are not just going wrong, that have gone wrong.